Hello from Southern Ontario, Canada. Now, I hate to admit this, but part of our deficit problem here in Canada isn't Trudeau's problem, or cause, I should say, despite the fact he's evidently working for the WEF to cause that, the global domination thing. Anyways, let's go back in history, recent history. The concept of infinite growth is necessary. If we look at the Canadian pension plan, just as one example, if it never had a penny of interest paid into it in any fashion, in my lifetime and beyond, it would still be in the black. But the federal government had a way of kind of borrowing from it to try to make it look like the books were balanced. Because that's what all the parties do. I'll balance the books and, oh, we almost made it and blah, blah, blah. Well, let's move this to a municipal level. A couple of years ago, very close to home here, a small town built a fairly large development, housing development. And, well, ultimately, the developer makes off like a bandit, but he has to pay all these, costs, and he's got to pay for the hydro and the sewage to be put in and stuff and blah, blah, blah. So anyways, when it was all done and said, there's like another 500 houses, right? Mega houses, instant ghetto. And the local municipality said, oh, we balanced the books this year. The books are balanced. Well, we forget that going back over the course of my lifetime, the municipalities have compounded debt and paid interest. So the provinces, all except Alberta, but they got to pay Quebec, so they only stay broke anyways. And the federal government loses money. This infinite growth concept, they juggle the books, back down to the municipality. So, well, we balanced the books this year, so the mayor and the councillors gave themselves a generous raise, almost double, because the books were balanced for that 1 year. So we come back to infinite growth. And again, back down to the municipality. Little shot in the arm for a year or two. The books look good. Oh, but then the municipality had to hire one more police officer, because there's all these other people. They had to hire another fireman. They had to hire another ambulance operator, 2 snowplow drivers, and another plow truck. And then we have crumbling infrastructure. Yes, the developer paid in his fees to put the hydro lines in and the sewer lines, but he's made off with the money. He's in the Bahamas. So that infrastructure has to be supported financially. Goes on your tax bill. Oh, yeah. What's on my tax bill? Municipal, provincial, federal. Oh, the Canadian pension plans in the whole. Our solution? Bring in more people. We need more people. If there were more people paying taxes, they'd be paying into the Canadian pension plan. It would all be good. I mean, everybody thinks so. Even Pierre Poilievre says this is good. We need more people. Canada's got to have 100 million people by 2030. That's the objective, 100 million people. More than doubling our population. Meanwhile, there's a housing crisis and nobody can afford anywhere to live. The price of motorhomes and tent trailers is through the roof. But let's go back to more people, more taxes. They bring all their grandmothers in there on the healthcare system, and they've never contributed to the Canadian pension plan. And then we just need more. Bring in more. See where I'm going with this? It doesn't work. I go back to my parents' time. They were Depression era children, raised as, in the Depression era. And I remember at 30 years of age saying to my mother, I said, well, you and Dad, they worked hard and honestly hard for their money. They rose from being, you know, individually and collectively dirt poor farmers. And they rose to prosperity in the sense of upper middle class, did well for themselves. But at 30 years of age, I said, hey, if I take the federal deficit, divide it by taxpayers, paying taxpayers, at 30 years of age, I was in debt as a working peasant to the government, because that's where the debt and the money comes from, $300,000. I said, Ma, you know, you started from zero. I'm starting this amount in the hole. How can I ever think I'm going to get my way out of it? And that was just federal deficit at the time. That didn't account for provincial, municipal, even our, the local school board runs a deficit. The fire department, the police, the list goes on and on. So this whole concept of infinite growth is infinitely flawed. It could be managed better, but it never has been. And well, I don't see Pierre Poilievre's plan going to work any better either, because it's the same plan, isn't it? Anyways, thanks for listening to my ramble. I do love a good ramble.